Welcome to the wonderful world of Pragmatic Psychology. I'm your host, Susanna Mittermaier, and we are going to explore how your difference is the gift that our world requires. Hello, amazing, wonderful you, Susanna Mittermaier here for another episode of Pragmatic Psychology, Be the Peacock. I hope you're doing amazing. Here in Europe, it's summertime and it's wonderful. I gotta say, it's a funny thing. We actually went on something called vacation, which is, for people who know me, a very, very rare thing. And I don't even know if I can call it vacation. It's basically something I usually don't do. And it was this urge in my world to do something different than I usually do. I mean, everything is changing anyway, most of us can't travel or not as much as usually. And, before the COVID time, I would, travel around the world, facilitate classes in many different countries. And nowadays, it's been a lot of things online. And this time gave me a whole new perspective on how to create in a different way. And so, like most of us have been at home for weeks and weeks and weeks. And, change always gives you a new perspective. And that's how it also was for me. And one of the things that showed up was asking myself, how else can I create? And not just create my business, but how would I truly like to create my life and my living? Because it's not about, people always look at, it's about creating your business and creating your projects and creating, whatever you create. But what if that perspective is way too small? What if your biggest creation was actually your life and living, and everything else is part of that? Everything else is like when you start to create your life and living and become more clear on what it is you truly desire, what else would be possible with all these different other parts, like your business, your projects, your family, your relationships? It's like most people tend to focus on only the relationship. How would I like to create that? Or only the projects, or only the business. What if you make all that easier by having a bigger perspective and ask yourself, what kind of life and living would I like to have? And that's the question I asked myself recently. And I ask it actually many times, because every time I ask it, I get a different awareness. Because things change, we change. So as you change, as everything around you changes, we need to ask more questions and more often to update and upgrade what we're asking for. Because the questions you asked a week ago of what you would like your life to be, maybe they don't apply anymore. Maybe something changed in your world. Maybe you got a different perspective. So what if you ask more often and more frequently than you might have done in the past? Because that's where you are moving towards the creation of your future in a much more rapid and ease-filled way. So I've been asking myself that. And so my partner and I, we chose to go on something called a vacation, which is a very different thing for me than it is for many other people. Because for me, vacation is not where I separate and say, okay, now I'm not going to work. Now I'm not going to create. Now I'm going to take a break. I never really take a break. Because if you have the point of view, you have to take a break, you actually have to separate. You have to say, this part is my business life and this part is my private life. And how much stress is that creating? I mean, once people go on vacation, what are they doing? They're like, okay, now I have to only be there for my family. I have to only be there for, staring at the ocean or whatever one is supposed to do on a vacation. It's a very funny thing, because there's actually an unspoken list I noticed of what you're supposed to do once you're on a thing called vacation. You're supposed to relax. You're supposed to, stare at the ocean or, sit still somewhere for a long time, and no questions asked. Like what if you ask your body, hey, what is vacation for you? What is, or more actually, what is nurturing for you? What contributes to you and what contributes to more living and a greater life and living? And maybe you get a different perspective, and maybe it is, sitting somewhere for hours or staring at the ocean, but not because it's on the list of so-called things that have to be done on vacation, but because it's actually something that's nurturing. And it comes from a choice, not from things you have to do. Because what I've noticed on that week that we had is, like first part, we were in a hotel, and people around us on vacation, and the stress they had on, okay, now we have to fill everything in this day, these days, this week that we always wanted to do, and now I'm not supposed to look at my emails, and all this separation from their other life, their work life, and then the separation to their private life. And I noticed how stressful that is for people, rather than what if everything is part of your life and living, your vacation time, your business time. And if you are not coming to conclusion of, now I have to stare at the ocean, do nothing but relax, which never really works, you can't really beat yourself into relaxation. Good luck. I'm sure most of us have tried. So, rather than coming to conclusion of, now I have to just sit there and do this and drink, whatever drink, and stare at the ocean or whatever you do, and I'm not supposed to look at emails. And at other times, maybe at work, you go, oh, I have to get this done, I have to get this done. This is based on a lot of conclusions and a lot of separation, where you categorize your life. This is my vacation time, this is my work time. What if everything is part of your life and living? And you, rather than coming to conclusion, ask questions. Okay, what is it time for today? What is required today? What expands my life and living today? And then you're open for whatever that is. Whether it's, maybe checking your emails, even if you're on vacation. Maybe it's when you have your work day. Maybe it's, saying, okay, I'm going to be out of here for half an hour because my body is asking for a walk, some kind of movement. And you weave that movement, that relaxation time into your creation time. But all of that comes from no conclusion and no separation, but total inclusion of everything and choice and question. Again, you ask, hey, what's required here today? What expands my life and living right away? And then you're open for whatever that is. And that's what we did now. And it was so amazing. That's why I said I can't really call this vacation, because vacation is this definition and this conclusion. Now we're not going to do anything. But I constantly practiced asking my body, asking myself, what is it time for right now, and so it was really amazing what I learned. It was this big discovery. So this so-called vacation for me was this discovery of, hey, what works for my body? What's new in my world? What else? What are the new awarenesses? And it was really, really amazing. We spent a lot of time in nature. We had this amazing, beautiful cabin up in the mountains in Austria, and nobody around us, just animals and plants and lots of beautiful nature. And so I actually, spending a lot of time in nature, learned a lot from the earth. And I watched the animals, I watched, the plants and nature, how it creates. And I realized, wow, nature, it actually never stresses. It is never in, oh my God, I have to get this done. I have to grow my leaves, and oh my God, and this, and I have so many things on my to-do list. Nature actually never stresses. It is like, have you ever seen nature stress? No. Why do you? So it's like we've learned this weird thing of being frantic and stressed and having a lot of to-do lists and gazillions of conclusions of what we have to do and get done in a certain time. It's like this weird thing that we have learned, that most of us grew up with, about how creation is supposed to be like and look like. And none of it is based on awareness. None of it is based on question, on choice, on possibility or contribution. So the four elements of true creation are question, choice, possibility, and contribution. So basically that means you're always in question. So what's required right now? From that question, new possibilities show up. You become aware of, I can do this. Oh, I didn't even think of that because I was so full of conclusions and points of view. And then you choose, and that contributes to the forward movement of your life. And that's the four elements of true creation. And that's something that I watched nature doing constantly. It's like, it's always in the question of, okay, what does the future require? Okay, so, and you watch, okay, so this year, and you can also see how nature functions in cycles. It's like animals are aware of, okay, like we watch the cows. Okay, they could sense the rain was about to come without there being any signs on the sky. They're not using an app or something. They actually use their knowing, which is very interesting to see how they just have this innate knowing of, okay, I know rain is going to come. There are no clouds right now in the sky. So they moved down from the Alps and just in time found somewhere where they could be very comfortable while the rain while it was raining. And it's like, we also have that innate knowing. We also know what's required. We also have this sense of what's going to come in the future. And we know how to prepare and what's required today without stressing. And then you're not like overwhelmed. Oh my God, it's raining. Now we have to quickly move into the, somewhere where we're not getting wet. But it's this thing that we can practice because we actually have that knowing. You know what your future is requiring of you today. So if you don't trust yourself, if you don't think you have that knowing, look back into your life when you knew that something was required, when you knew, oh, I have to change something in my life, or my job requires this, or my kids require this. Maybe like if you look at 2-3 situations where you actually knew, but you hadn't acknowledged that in the moment, but afterwards you went, oh, I knew it. I knew this was about to occur. So you want to look at those situations so you acknowledge those moments, so you have a greater ease with creating your life and also trusting that like the animals, like they just know. So do you. You know what your future is requiring. And once you acknowledge that, you don't have to stress anymore. You don't have to go, oh my God, because stress comes from cutting off your awareness of what your life and your future requires. When you're connecting with your body and when you ask, what do I know here? Or what does my future require? Or what does the future of my business require? What does the future of my kids require? Apply it to any situation. And you just ask that question and you don't stress an answer. So when you ask these questions, don't stress an answer. Allow the awareness to come to you when it comes. Awareness is not something you can stress. So just ask, what does the future of this and that require? And then relax. I know that's a big part. Relax. Learn to relax. Don't stress answers. Don't stress your creations. Stop forcing everything. Like everything in life has a certain timing, just like in nature. The leaves grow, when there is a certain temperature. A tree wouldn't go in the winter and go, oh my God, I have to have leaves right now because it just looks so much better and I really wish I have leaves. Well, that's probably not going to occur. So it's like everything has a sense of timing. You see that with kids growing up. You see that with nature. And that's the same with every one of your projects, with everything you create in your life. Like everything has a sense of timing, and you gotta acknowledge that, and you gotta use this to your advantage rather than stressing everything. So these questions are a great practice to have a sense of those subtleties of awarenesses that occur once you ask what's required and once you connect with your knowing and connect with your body also. You're like, your body is also this treasure box. And I noticed this also on this vacation where I learned so much. Like, that's why I have a hard time calling it vacation, because it's not an out time for me. It's not a break from consciousness. It's not a break from awareness. It's where I just I discover things from a different space. So what if vacation for you, or a holiday, or a day where you do something different, is not where you take a break, but it's like where you have a different space that you function from, where you get to have a different perspective on your life, on the world, on the future, and where you can ask different questions and discover more about you, discover more about your body, like become friends with your body again. I ask a lot of questions about food, for example. I'm like, body, do you really desire to eat now? Because on vacation, you surely are supposed to eat more or cook more or go out for dinner more. But actually ask, body, would you really like to eat? No. Okay. Well, what would you like to do? I like to move. Okay. What kind of movement would you like to do? Hiking. So we went hiking. Like on those hike tours, what I like, we didn't conclude, we're going to go hiking for 2, 3, 4 or 5 hours. We just started, and then we went, okay, now, body, would you like to move some more? Yes, okay, or no. So at the end of the week, we went for a hike for 2.5 hours. And then I said to my partner, hey, would you be up for another round, another hike? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. Are you sure? Because, he's used to me taking it easy. And so we went for a hike for 5 hours. And that wasn't planned. That was just something that, we took it moment by moment. And that's also how I create my whole life. It's like, okay, so now we went for a hike for an hour. Body, would you like to move some more? Yes. Okay, another half hour. Now what? Would you like to, sit down somewhere, eat, go home, hike some more? Okay, now what? Now what? So that's this hiking or creating your life. It's a constant state of questioning or questions of now what's required, not coming to conclusion. Okay, first we're going to hike for 3 hours, and then we're going to, go for dinner, and then we're going to do this and do this and do this. What if you make a choice and see where it takes you? Because every choice gives you a new set of awareness of what's possible after you made that choice or because you made that choice. It's where you more have an adventure of living. So nature showed us a lot of this creation, and including the future. This whole time of vacation also showed us how our bodies actually function different. And I realized also how much stress I had in my body that I wasn't even aware of. So I asked, so how can I create from more relaxation rather than stressing? So I asked for more space for me in my body. I asked for more relaxation, and I discovered this totally different way of creating that's more from a space and a relaxation. So what if you ask for this? What if you ask, hey, body, what do you know? What can you show me about creating from a space of relaxation, from a space of ease, joy, and glory and possibilities? But you gotta allow it to show you, not have a lot of points of view. My body needs this, and we need to move, and we need to eat this or not eat that. That's where you force your point of view on your body rather than asking it, hey, can you show me what you know about creating from space and relaxation? Or nature, earth, can you show me how to create from more space and relaxation? And I did that, and I listened to nature. I listened to my body. I'm like, wow, it knows so much. It can show me so many new spaces and new awarenesses of how I can function different in the world, how I can function different in the world, and how I can function different with my whole life. And that's what you get to do, So what if you let the world in? What if you let nature in? What if you let the contribution and the nurturing and the caring in that is available to you? Just ask for it. Lower your barriers and let it into your world and body. And that takes an amount of vulnerability to allow that, You actually gotta let it in, not try to take care of everything yourself. You already know that you're good at taking care of everything yourself. You already know that. You don't have to prove that to yourself anymore. So what if you trust that, know that, and let the world in so it can contribute to you having more ease in your life and your future. Just ask for it, and then maybe sit somewhere, maybe lean against a tree for half an hour and ask the tree to show you what relaxation, what ease, what joy, what glory is available for you, your body, your life, and your future. And let it show you. And don't force the awareness. It comes when it comes. So I hope this was a contribution. If you have anybody that doesn't have ease or stresses or that would be contributed by this episode, just share it everywhere. Let's spread the good news of a different way of functioning in the world. And remember, all of life comes to us with ease and joy and glory. One of my favorite things, it's a mantra from Access Consciousness that is wonderful to use every day, a couple of times. All of life comes to us with ease and joy and glory. All of life comes to us with ease and joy and glory. So have way too much fun and looking forward to the next time together. Mwah! Bye! How was the show for you? Are you inspired? Feel free to share this episode with anyone you think would appreciate it too. Thank you for the contribution you are to spreading possibilities around the world. For more information, visit my webpage www.susannamittermaier.com.